Breaking news. No more CPF shielding already from 2025 onwards. But to be specific, no more CPF Special account after the Budget 2024 announcement. So here are the 3 key things that were mentioned in the Budget 2024 for specific to CPF matters. Number 1, CPF contribution rates for those aged 55 to 65 have been increased by a further 1.5%. And that is from 2025 onwards. So that is good. More CPF contributions for our elders who are still in the workforce. Number 2, maximum retirement account amount to be increased to 4 times the basic retirement sum number, which will be $426,000. So seems like a good thing. I think increasing the cap is always welcome. But these 2 points will not be my priority for the discussion today, because I want to emphasize on point number 3, which is that there will be no more CPF Special account after the age of 55 from 2025 onwards, as the CPF Special account will be closed and the SA will be transferred to RA up to FRS, then the remaining will be transferred to the OA. So yes, these new changes have shocked the entire Singapore, especially in my Telegram group of over 13,000 members, which you could join in on the discussion. But most likely you would have heard it in other chat groups as well, especially the 1M65 Telegram group. Wow, you see, it's a huge mess over there ever since that announcement. And I fully understand where some of you are coming from. You are angry, you are disappointed, you are sad with the establishment that such changes have crippled your retirement plans. And some people want to put the fault on people who are spreading the message, specifically finance bloggers, finance influencers, finance content creators, even like myself. But if you were to rationalize a bit, you think the government wouldn't know this? They already know, but they just wouldn't take action yet. If even mere mortals like us who have known the message and spread it, what do you think the government would not know of? In fact, in one of my previous videos, I talked about no more CPF shielding soon for a Taobao article. By that time, Minister Tan Shielding of MOM already clarified that they already know. And based on the recent article, there was a certain MP that raised this regarding the shielding effect. But I hear you, if you really want to shift the blame to someone, then let it be me, okay? I'm sorry to spread the CPF shielding hack to everyone in my channel. Now let's dive into the details of what is changing, the before and after effect. So before these changes were announced, people who are preparing for their age 55 when their retirement account is set up, they want to do shielding, right? Because the purpose of shielding is to have the special account, which is giving around 4% per annum interest, to be like a high interest savings account, like those bank accounts that I have went through on my channel. And when you shield your CPF SA account by investing into short-term assets before the transfer to the RA, your RA is only formed by taking the majority of the OA funds. Hence, when you uninvest your SA investments, it goes back to your high interest SA account of 4%, and then you can withdraw the passive interest gain year after year. And that was what was mentioned in my CPF shielding video, right? Having kind of like an ATM using a special account gaining 4% per annum, which is really a very good loophole or hack. It's highly liquid, highly flexible, and high interest rate. So back then, you can have the best of both worlds and have your cake and eat it too. But you have to realize the fact that loophole only benefits a certain number of people. How many people we are talking about can hit the full retirement sum in the first place? If we look at just the CPF statistics, around 50% of the members aged 55 hit their full retirement sum. And out of these people who have hit the full retirement sum at age 55, how many of them actually know of the shielding? And even so, if you know of the shielding, how many people would have executed it successfully? So in a real actual scenario, the people who really benefit from CPF shielding is a very small percentage. In fact, based on the recent article, only 2% of active CPF members have executed this strategy successfully. So the new CPF changes will close this loophole or nerf, whatever you call it. If you are familiar with credit cards, we are not new to this kind of thing. But for people who are highly emphasized on CPF, maybe it's the first time you're experiencing this grift. And I think I know why many people are really unhappy with this, because there are people who have not executed the shielding strategy. They felt that the minority people who have done the CPF shielding strategy kind of sabotaged them. And to put this in a very good example, I'll bring you back to your school days. Let's say your class is very well behaved and then the teacher always let you leave 10 minutes earlier than the scheduled ending school time. But you realize your neighbor class is not happy with it, because why can that class leave 10 minutes earlier but we cannot? So the neighbor class go and complain to the principal. Then the principal heard about this and scolded the teacher who let the class ended early. So now in the end, everyone still ends school at the same time. No one is ending the school 10 minutes early. Then of course the class who usually ended early will make noise and say, "You're sabo me." But what they don't realize is that they have been enjoying a privilege that not many people are entitled to, and it's just reversing to the normal situation. And I know this may not be the best story, but I'm trying to put it in a way that how some people can empathize how the other party feels. So what's going to happen after the new CPF changes? Very simple. After 55, it will be simplified to just 3 CPF accounts, no more 4 CPF accounts, because as a special account will be closed, the balances will be transferred to the retirement account up to the full retirement sum. Then the remaining balance will go to the ordinary account, the OA. So no more 4 accounts after 55, just 3 accounts: OA, ordinary account, RA, retirement account, and MA, Medisave account. Then how do you decide after 55 whether you want to pump up your retirement account to 4 times the BRS number, or you want to withdraw out that funds? Which is why you have to consider between high flexibility versus high interest rate. Which one would you prefer? If you want to enjoy the high interest rate of around 4%, you have to do a cash top-up of your retirement account or do a CPF transfer from OA to RA after 55 to beef it up to the ERS, which is 4 times the BRS. And it is mentioned that you can get around $3,300 monthly with this amount, based on the CPF Life estimations that start at age 65 with $426,000 of capital. But if you want the high flexibility, then you just have to do nothing, because your OA still earns 2.5%. Or if you have a better place to allocate these funds, be it high interest, high returns, or better investment, then you can withdraw all these CPF OA funds as cash, then allocate where you find it necessary. But you have to realize that this is a very big step down from that 4% special account to now 2.5% in the OA, a loss of approximately 1.5%. And I fully know that the current interest of special account is now 4.08%, but I'm just going to use 4% for easier calculation. Now, if you're over age 55 in year 2025, and then you are thinking to withdraw your OA, but you don't know where to park your cash, then of course the first thing to do is to subscribe to this channel, because I always go through where do I park my cash for the best returns. And I'll show you an example of what is one of my cash strategies. If you just need one good reason to use Webull, here it is. When you're just starting out to invest, you may not want to put down a large amount of money, and it is easier to start with small, regular investments. This is where Webull's regular savings plan, or RSP, can help you dollar cost average into your favorite US stocks, ETFs, or mutual funds effectively. Currently, RSP supports US listed stocks and ETFs, and also SGD and USD mutual funds. To set up RSP, tap on Markets, then RSP, then search for your target stock, ETF, or fund. For investment amount, it's a minimum of 10 Singapore dollars if you're funding from bank account, and minimum of $5 US when you're funding from Webull buying power. For frequency wise, you may choose from every trading day, week, 2 weeks, or every month. To modify RSP, you can go to Account, Orders, Regular Savings Plan, and modify the amount or frequency, or even cancel the RSP. In the Regular Savings Plan page, you may also find useful information like tickers that tracks the Dow Jones, S&P 500, or Nasdaq, popular funds and popular stocks that others are interested in. And here is the current deposit promo. Fund at least 2,000 Singapore dollars, fulfill the requirements, and you can get up to $2,500 of Tesla shares. There is also a shares transfer in promo, where if you transfer shares value at least 5,000 US dollars, fulfill the requirements, and you can get up to 3,000 Singapore dollars of Tesla shares. So don't miss this offer and get your Webull account with my referral link, or scan the QR code right here today. So like I said, there's still going to be a very negative feeling, in fact a negative impact, but to put it in a real perspective, how much are you expected to lose? So assuming you have $300,000 in your special account at the age 55 in year 2025, but you remember $40,000 have to go to the RA because that is the reserve amount. So your net amount is only $260,000, which would have been shielded. Before the CPF announcements were made, assuming you done an effective shielding strategy, 4% of $260,000 would have been $10,400 per year. Then after the new change is 2.5% multiplied by $260,000, where you are getting $6,500 per year. So if you look at this difference of 1.5%, it's going to lose you $3,900 per year, which is already good for a few vacations. Not only that, you have to multiply that $3,900 number with your estimated remaining life expectancy after 55. So assuming 30 years until age 85, 30 times 3,900, that is $117,000 of negative impact. So you see lah, for the 2% of people who have completed your CPF shielding strategy effectively, this is going to be the estimated impact based on how big your CPF special account balances are. Then I know some of you in the comment section already gloating already. Haha, I told you so. Haha, you see your retirement plan fail. Hi, my only response to this is I think you should worry for yourself first. Don't need to worry about me. If there's only one thing we should learn from this episode, is that we should not only depend depend on CPF for retirement planning. Because in my channel, I always talk about to have multiple sources of income, and CPF is just being a cornerstone of it. It can set your fundamentals, but on top of it, you need to layer with it other sources of investment. And I foresee there's going to be a lot more questions coming in the comments of this video. And the good news is, I'm not done with this topic yet, because I have so much more to talk about in a series of CPF videos with this change, including CPF strategies, as well as some questions that you have to consider when you're planning for retirement. But what is not changing is that my CPF is still there. My special account is still there at full retirement sum. In fact, a few years ahead of the current full retirement sum. And I'll show you what are my current CPF balances in this video right here.